Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2.6 of the Maritime Witch.
Yay.
Yay.
We're back.
We're back, yeah. So once a month so far. So today we are actually going to do a little bit of Maritime and a little bit of Witch. So we did promise, well, I don't know if we promised, but anyways, when we started this, that we would discuss some maritime history and some maritime folklore. And so with an anniversary right on the horizon, we are going to tell you a little bit of a story. We're going to go back into some Canadian history. Woohoo! That's exciting.
Are you going to actually tell us the story, or are you just going to tease us?
There was your clue. So June 27th. Is the anniversary of the capture and destruction of the young teaser. So to give you a little bit of a history, it's part of our maritime heritage. The young teaser was a U.S. privateer schooner, and a member of her crew actually blew up the ship. This all took place during the War of 1812. And this happened in Mahone Bay, Nova Scotia. Now, when I say Mahone Bay, Nova Scotia, I don't mean the town of Mahone Bay. So there's the town of Mahone Bay, but the water surrounding Mahone Bay and all its islands is known as Mahone Bay. So let's get that part of the history lesson. That's the geography lesson.
That's the actual Mahone Bay.
Yes. So she was destroyed after she was chased and trapped by the HMS Hogue. And the young teaser was actually built to replace the teaser, which was captured and burned in December of 1812. I do believe the owner was Samuel Adams. Isn't that a beer? Isn't Samuel Adams a beer? I mean, obviously he was a man, but yeah. Is there a beer?
Never miss an opportunity to enjoy a tasty Samuel Adams lager, especially when it's on someone else's tab. Samuel Adams, always a good decision.
So the young teaser left Portland June 3rd, 1813 with 73 men aboard and was under the command of William D. Dobson. So obviously we're in the middle of a war, so this is a privateer schooner. So this is all about chasing ships, capturing ships. The U.S. was involved. The British were involved. Actually, the young teaser had evaded capture quite a few times before the HMS Orpheus chased the young teaser into Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, but then lost her near Mahone Bay due to light winds. So the young teaser was actually able to get away. And then on June 27th, I do believe HMS Hogue picked up the chase for 18 hours until she trapped the young teaser in the Mahone Bay between Mason Island and Refuse Island.
Which is actually closer to Chester.
It is. And I'm actually going to, when I upload everything to Facebook, where I do like the pictures, where I put the link to the podcast, where I put my pictures, there's a map there that will show you where Mason Island and Refuse Island is in comparison to where it is in the Mahone Bay and how close it is to Mahone Bay, how close it is to Chester. The Hogue was firing on the young teaser and the Orpheus joined in as well. The Hogue was going to send a boarding party to board the teaser. Aboard the teaser, Captain Dobson discussed plans to defend the privateer with his crew, which had then been reduced to 38 men. The schooner then actually exploded a few minutes later. And it says that Johnson, who is Johnson? Don't know. Anyways, my notes say Johnson. He feared hanging for breaking his parole and was seen rushing to the powder magazine. So, yeah. So
there was an earth-shattering kaboom.
There was an earth-shattering kaboom.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
And very, very sad. I think 30 of the crew passed away in the explosion. There was a lot of, obviously, wreckage in the waters. A lot of residents help to pull people out of the wreckage. I know a lot of people, it says that there were obviously some men were badly burned, a lot of injuries. They were taken to different homes and tended to. I know that this is getting off track, not off track of the teaser explosion itself, but there is a rumor that there was a soldier that was taken to a house I can see the house in my mind. I might actually see if I can snag a picture of it and post it, down on the water street, down by the rope loft. And they say that there is a soldier that was taken to that house and tended to, and he passed away from his injuries, and that his ghost still haunts that house.
And a rope loft.
We're getting to that. So the wreckage that was salvaged included some timbers that were used for construction in and around Mahone Bay. And the Rope Loft restaurant in Chester has a beam from the remains of the ship. And the wooden cross that is inside of St. Stephen's Anglican Church in Chester was made from wood from the keel. And there is a scorched fragment of the keel and a cane made from teaser fragments that are displayed at the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic in Halifax.
So that cross, that's not going to be like something like the fog or something where they're going to, on a foggy night, the ghosts from the teaser are going to come back to the church and look for their cross.
No, I don't believe they will.
Because I think in the fog, I think it was a gold cross or something, wasn't it? Or something like that.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I have seen that movie.
We'll play a clip from it right now.
John Carpenter's The Fog.
This is KAB, Antonio Bay. Stevie Wayne here, and let me be the first to wish Antonio Bay a happy birthday. We're 100 years old today, and keep a watch out for that fog bank heading in from the east.
100 years ago, between midnight and 1, something unknown came out of the fog. Now it has returned. From the creator of Halloween, the ultimate experience in terror and suspense. John Carpenter's The Fog, starring Adrienne Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis, John Houseman, Janet Leigh as Kathy Williams, and Hal Holbrook as Father Malone. The Fog. What you can't see won't hurt you. It will kill you. Between midnight and 1, it will find you.
And we're back.
So we've discussed the story of the teaser. So the ghost story that revolves around the young teaser is the teaser light. And if you're interested in reading more accounts of this, there is a book written by Helen Creighton. I do believe it is called, Blue Nose Ghosts. And she has documented a lot of versions of the story. A lot have been debunked as sightings that may have been optical illusions during the full moon. Now, I know that some people have said that they have seen the teaser light on or around the June 27th anniversary. Now, where do you go to see the ghost ship? Well, there's some debate about that. A lot of people say that if you are in Mahone Bay on the evening of June 27th, it's a Thursday this year. So, hey, if you're kicking around the South Shore of Nova Scotia on June 27th and you want to go to Mahone Bay, grab a Tim's, go sit by the water.
Like the town of Mahone Bay.
Town of Mahone Bay. When you look at the map, I do believe Indian Point is a good place to watch it. Now, I have been told that, and there's nowhere to stay, so you'd have to find a friend or make friends with somebody on Big Tancook Island. But apparently that has the best view. You pitch a tent and go sit on a beach and
have a couple of beer,
and you'll see lots of things. But apparently, Big Tancook Island has the best viewing for the ghost light. So, drop us a line at themaritimewitch@gmail.com. Have you seen the teaser light? If you have, tell us all about it. We'll talk about your story on the air. Or, if you are out and around on June 27th and you do see something, hey, grab some photographs. But they say that it appears and then it's just instantly, it just disappears. Like you see it and it's gone.
Wasn't there one person that was buried at the graveyard or something in one of the graveyards?
I'm not really sure. I mean, it's not anything that I found in my research, so I'm not sure. Was that Captain Dobson?
I don't know.
Seems to me that there's a familiarity in the St. Stephen's Anglican graveyard.
I could be thinking about something else, but there was somebody that was buried along the outskirts of the graveyard.
Yeah, maybe that's something that we'll have to investigate. So yeah, just an interesting story, part of our history, although gruesome, but that's what history is most times, is gruesome. It was war, so. And
incidentally, there is a shop over in the town of Mahone Bay.
The Teaser.
Called The Teaser.
Yep. So the name has, been an integral part of maritime history, maritime folklore, for sure. And there was the Teaser, the Young Teaser. And actually the name of the schooner was actually revived in July of 1813 when a Nova Scotia privateer schooner known as the Liverpool Packet was captured and converted to an American privateer. It was named Young Teaser's Ghost. But however, Young Teaser's Ghost didn't capture any ships and was soon recaptured by the British. And then the name of the ship was restored to the Liverpool Packet.
And there's a good name for a band, Young Teaser's Ghost.
Yeah, well, there you go. So a sad story, as most stories of war are. And, there's a lot that you could do that day if you want to go to the rope loft and have lunch and check out the beam that's there. And I'm not sure if the church is open to the public or not, that you could see the wooden cross. Obviously, the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic is, accessible for people to go and see it there. And then I'm not sure what other places used wood for the construction, but the rope loft is definitely, you can walk in and see that one. I'm sure the staff are well aware of the history and can point you in the direction. So, stop there and have lunch and then make your way to a vantage point and let us see what you see. Maybe we'll go for a drive that evening and see what we can see.
If those dudes from the fog want that cross back, it doesn't matter if the church is open or not. They're going to comes and gets it.
This is not the fog. That's for the Halloween episode.
You say. I think it is.
Okay. All right. So, so if we go for a drive on June 27th and, we'll let you know how it turns out if we see anything as well.
Pirate chicken.
Pirate chicken. Yes, pirates. All right. So that was the maritime portion of the Maritime Witch. So now we're going to move on to the witch portion of the Maritime Witch. So one aspect of witchcraft that has kind of fascinated me, and I really don't have a lot of notes here, so bear with me, is witchcraft and the law. Dun, 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 dun.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Is witchcraft a crime in Canada? Well, actually, witchcraft itself is not a crime per se in any of the civilized world. There are some places in the world where still witchcraft is illegal, but again,
like the backwoods of Nova Scotia.
Technically, no, it is legal to practice witchcraft in Canada as a religion. However, this is where witchcraft and the law is kind of a little bit of a gray area, because you can be charged in Canada with pretending to practice witchcraft. So if you are pretending to exercise or use any kind of witchcraft, sorcery, enchantment, or conjuration, or if you undertake for a consideration to tell fortunes, or if you pretend for your skill or knowledge of occult or crafty science to discover where or in what manner anything that is supposed to have been stolen or lost may be found. So, the word pretend. So you can't pretend to practice witchcraft. Basically, I think a lot of the crimes that have been committed have been actually fraud and not witchcraft. But if you are pretending to be a witch to fraudulently scam people, you actually are looking at a maximum of 6 months in prison.
Really?
You are. So, and recently, as much as recently, in 2009, a Toronto woman was charged after taking $27,000 from a grieving Toronto lawyer after claiming she was possessed by the spirit of his dead sister. And in 2010, a Brampton man was charged after taking money for witchcraft-related services at his home. And in 2012, a Toronto man was charged with falsely practicing witchcraft after he told a woman he could remove a family curse for $14,000.
Calling all stations from Hong Kong to Pompeii. Come in if you read me, Dr. Bombay.
Dr. Bombay here.
Never mind your pills, forget your thermometer. Come on the run with your trusty hexometer.
His trusty what? Hexometer. I invented this remarkable machine to detect the presence of witchcraft on or about a person.
I have an issue with this because it's all kind of being lumped under the umbrella of witchcraft when actually it's under the big old umbrella of fraud and scams. So I don't really kind of agree that it's being, like I said, under being charged with pretending to be a witch. Having said that, I think you can still dress up as a witch on Halloween, even if you're not a witch. Not that kind of pretending to be a witch. And in Sydney, Nova Scotia, there was, I can't remember the year. Oh, where is it here? Yes, April of 2021. So just 3 years ago, there was a case. The ins and outs of it was a 7-year-old with, I think, being kind of torn between parents. The parents were estranged from each other, and there was a lot of back and forth as to the upbringing. And this child had been obviously through a lot, obviously not a happy family. But the woman, the mother, was ordered to not expose the 7-year-old to witchcraft. Again, I have a problem with this because I guess it depends on, what am I trying to say here? So I'm not sure exactly, because it doesn't really go into depths in the article, obviously, to protect the 7-year-old, what she was being exposed to witchcraft wise. But I kind of wonder, if the mother was a practicing Catholic, would she have been told not to expose the child to Catholicism?
If you're going out and you're appreciating the trees and you're making an ointment from some kind of a plant or something that heals people and everything, and you're passing that on to your kids, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, well, and it's like, had she have been, Jewish, would they have told her that, she can't practice Jewish faith around the child? I just think that here again, we have the stigmatism of, it's witchcraft, it's evil. And, she wasn't allowed to be exposed to, the mother wasn't allowed to have her altar set up when the child was present. She wasn't allowed to expose her to any symbolism. And I disagree with that only because I think our children have the right to be educated on every aspect of every religion if they so choose to understand it. That way they can make an educated choice later on in life as to which religion, if any, they choose to follow. I mean, my dearly departed father, obviously no longer with me, and my mother is probably not listening to this podcast. So from my own aspect, I was raised in a very Christian home. I was baptized and confirmed in the church. And my parents were not strict religiously, but they were very, that they had their faith and they had their beliefs. And I grew up feeling very uncomfortable, not because of I felt like I was being forced to follow their path, but because their choices didn't feel right for me. So it took me a long time as an adult to then realize that that was not the path I wanted to take, and that, hey, it was okay for me to be different than my parents. And lucky for me, my parents were very understanding for the path that I had chosen. And they themselves, as they grew older, didn't leave they left the church. They didn't leave their religion. You know, they still had their faith, but they had some issues with certain aspects of the church, how things were being run, how people were doing things, how money was being spent, yada, blah, 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 blah. So, but yeah, I really think that, getting back to the court case, again, I know that there was some, like, reading the story and everything, there were a lot more issues than just this woman practicing witchcraft in front of her child. But I think that that didn't need to be so poignant in the case as to, oh, well, you can't practice witchcraft in front of your child. They can't be exposed, because there's a lot of aspects of paganism and witchcraft. Like you said, if you're teaching children about nature and how certain aspects of nature can help heal, is, as simple as, tinctures for cuts or salves, or, drinks that are medicinal for, headaches or coughs and that sort of thing. Like, it's with pharmaceutical companies pushing medications at us that cause so many side effects. I think more and more people are actually trying to find more natural ways to heal themselves and make themselves feel better.
And some of that stuff is useful, but
yeah. And I'm not saying that that's all of witchcraft. And there's many different aspects of witchcraft. So I don't know what this child was exposed to. It just, I was kind of annoyed that, like I said, became even a valid point in the case, because like I said, I doubt very much had she been practicing another religion that would have even been an issue.
Well, one thing I've learned over my lifetime is that whether you're a good person or a bad person has nothing to do with what you believe in or not believe in, or what political thing you follow or anything like that. It's, you are who you are.
Well, it's just, it's a very gray area in the law. I know down in the good old US of A, south of our border, there are some states, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, that all forms of fortune telling are illegal. But again, it falls under that umbrella of witchcraft, which, not everybody who practices witchcraft does any kind of form of divination. And there are those that practice divination that don't necessarily consider themselves witches or practice Wicca. So a lot of the laws are in place to prevent scammers. And I think it's important that if you're seeking out fortune telling, I think a lot of it boils down to the fact that a lot of it is for entertainment purposes. I take my charm casting very seriously. I don't pretend to tell the future. I tell what the charms tell me when they're spread out on the board. And I don't tell you anything devastating or bad. I know that there are some fortune tellers who will say, oh, this is going to happen to you and this is terrible and I can change this for you, but it's going to cost you $1,000. There's where the problem lies with fortune telling. And when I do a reading, and as most of my friends, when we do readings, it's not that at all. It's a connection with spirit, or it's a connection with the loved ones, or, it's just a connection between you and the person that you're reading for. And it's a guide as to, this could happen, this could not happen. This is, this is what this form of divination is telling me is going on in your life or not going on in your life, or what you need to do, that sort of thing.
So it's like the here and now.
Yeah, well, for me it is. I don't dive into the past when I do readings, only because you've been there, you've lived it, you've already know what's happened in your past. I do basically the here and the now, and the tools that you need to utilize to get yourself to a better place.
So if you were doing a reading for me and it would be the here and now, it'd be like the charms are saying, if you don't take the garbage out, you're soon going to be homeless.
But if you pay me $1,000 to spend on Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to witchcraft and the law, New York has some gray state laws. It's generally not prosecuted. In the state of California, you actually need a license to do fortune telling. I don't know what is required to gain that license. I didn't research that. We don't need licenses here in Nova Scotia, as far as I know. Here's hoping we don't, because there's a lot of us that practice that don't have licenses. In the state of Texas, fortune telling is considered unlawful and a public nuisance. I've seen some public nuisances, and none of them have been fortune tellers.
No, it might have something to do with alcohol.
Had a lot to do with alcohol. In the state of Colorado, it can only be for religious reasons. So you have to, and also in the state of Oregon, you're not allowed to call it fortune telling. You can call yourself a spiritual advisor or a psychic consultant. I don't really see the big deal with the name fortune teller.
What century are we living in?
Exactly. But yeah, there are some really, I think a lot of these laws too haven't been revisited in a long time. I think a lot of them are archaic. You want fortune telling? Hey, go to New Orleans, go to Mississippi, because you're going to get a lot there. Obviously not illegal. They might need a license. I don't know.
And get some beads.
Yep. And so anyways, it's just an interesting subject. I'm not sure when. I mean, witchcraft back in the day, obviously, as we all know, Salem witch trials in Britain, punishable by death for being accused of and proven to be a witch. But yeah, I find it kind of interesting. So if you are traveling, through the States, or you plan on moving to the States and you want to set up shop, I know that there was a story that came out not that long ago. I do believe it was in Pennsylvania, perhaps, that a woman has a shop and there was some kind of a festival or something, maybe, perhaps. Anyway, she wasn't included in the tourism brochure, and I'm not going to say that she was harassed, but she wasn't treated very well for the fortune telling aspect of her business.
Just think of all the natural healing things that got lost over the years because of outlawing what they would call, evil. Like you call it witchcraft. I just call it just being natural to the earth. You're living here on this planet, and it just makes sense that this planet gives you things to live, like food and things to heal you, and all the things that, through thousands of years of discovering that, taking this plant and putting it with that plant and everything and making an ointment or whatever will heal that cut or something like that. All those things that got lost because they probably accused somebody of being a witch or whatever and then burned their house down. And, it's a sin, really. So many things got lost over the years just out of ignorance. Yeah. Stupidity.
And actually, really. Maybe as we move forward with some of the content in the podcast, we can actually look into, I do have some books that talk about the different tinctures and salves. And, well, for example, a mustard plast was considered witchcraft. And yet, this stuff works. Yeah. And so, maybe we could dive into some of the things that are old and ancient and, could maybe be brought forward with caution and safety as well. I know that I actually have researched doing a mustard plast, and you have to be extremely careful because it actually can burn you. But, back in the day, that's what they did. You pneumonia or the flu or whatever it was, they put this little mustard plast on your chest. And,
well, even if you got like a sore throat, a glass of steaming hot water, obviously you don't want to be put that in your mouth. But
I've done that.
relatively, a little more than warm, and then mix a teaspoon of salt, and that's good for a sore throat. I've done that many a times, and it's way better than anything you buy over the counter.
Yeah. Well, for example, even if you have a cough, to steep thyme leaves as a tea and drink that, and it will ease your cough. I've done it before. Honey is another thing for sore throat. Sweetie, baby. This has been a very serious podcast. We haven't had our usual back and forth banter. It's been a serious subject, though. I mean, witchcraft and the law, and still, I think that just because the law states that it is legal to practice witchcraft, Wicca, as a religion in Canada, there are still a lot of people I know firsthand that, I would certainly be up on the boards and being set on fire if some people had their way.
Well, like I said, that gets back to people thinking, okay, I have the right to have my religion and everything, but I'm going to push it on everybody else. It's like, And I don't know, like there's a lot of those ways that I believe in, that I agree with, but I don't believe in pushing it on anybody. I don't really care what the guy down the street thinks.
Well, I mean, I don't discriminate. I have friends from all walks of life and different religions, and we all respect each other, and I don't push my religion on them. They don't push their religion on me. We're all very respectful, but there are some people within this community who, like you said, I think would burn me at the stake if they had the chance. Been at the certainly discriminated against. Especially when it comes to the spiritual expos. And it's not just me. I'm not playing the victim here. I have seen it with some of my other friends who practice and who walk this spiritual path. We've all been victims of discrimination. And in this day and age, I just really don't think that should even be a thing. But anyways, I wish them all the best. I don't expect you to see things my way. I don't mean it that way, but just because you can't respect my religion, I still wish you all the best.
I just don't understand why somebody gets so upset over something that, they have absolutely nothing to do with. Like, how you live your life within our house has nothing to do with the guy down the street. Why is he getting upset about how you're living your life?
Well, it's just it. It's not like I'm out there being an asshole to this person, right?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
These people. It's like, I'm friendly. I'm part of the community. I work in the community. I give to the community. I've been here all my life, and yet still.
But that really has nothing to do with your religion. That has
exactly
everything to do with who you are, like what I was saying before.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned in life is that, who you are is who you are. There's crappy people in all different types of religion.
Absolutely.
And there's absolutely fantastic people in all different types of religion.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's how you treat your fellow human being.
Yeah. Well, even when we decided to do the very first Merry Witchmas, and we had some issues revolving around that, I had obviously was being discriminated against. But on the other side of that, I had a lot of people from all different religions also come out and were mortified with the fact that this was happening and were very, very supportive and very helpful. And, Merry Witchmas actually went through. Well, actually, Merry Witchmas didn't go through because we were forced to change the name, but
not the following year, though.
But we did in the following year, and we won't moving forward.
No, but and that's the thing, though. You can't do nothing against ignorance. Some people just dig their heels into the ground, and you can't change the mind of a brick.
I guess you can't. No.
It is what it is. You just gotta go around the wall and keep on walking.
Yep. So yeah, witchcraft and the law. So an interesting subject. We could probably talk for days and days, or I know I could, but anyways, we will end that there. So we hope you've enjoyed our little bit of a history lesson and the Maritime and the witch. And now we will move on to the full moon segment of the podcast.
Walk up the moon.
So the full moon for June. Oh, the moon in June is a big balloon. The full moon in June is the strawberry moon, and it is on June 21st, 2024. The June full moon is a good time for doing spells for protection, and it's a good time to do cleansing spells. And during the full moon in June, that's very hard to say. I kind of got to want to laugh.
I actually like it when you say that.
The moon in June?
The June full moon.
The June full moon?
That's what I like. Now I'm getting all mixed up.
Tongue-tied.
The June full moon.
The June full moon.
I like it when you say that.
Is a good time for organization and cleaning, and it is also a good time for goal setting and for setting long-term goals. If you plan on doing spells or rituals during the full moon, as we have discovered, Friday is the best time to do it. And yay, it is on a Friday. So if you're going to do your full moon ritual, then Friday's the best day. And there you have it.
The June full moon.
The June full moon. The strawberry moon. And for those of you out there that are not allergic to strawberries, enjoy.
I'm going to pick out a tune for the June full moon.
I bet you are.
I'll do it soon.
Okay.
Play me a June moon song, just any old June moon song. I'll smile the whole day through. The The band will be swinging, I'll hear what they're singing. Play me a June moon song.
And now we will move on to the Zodiac portion of the podcast.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
So the zodiac sign that we are covering in this segment is Cancer, which runs from June 21st, 22nd to July 22nd. It is the fourth sign in the fourth house of the zodiac. It is a water sign and is symbolized by the crab. People born under this sign are intuitive, self-protective, possessive, pessimistic. They are affectionate and loyal and nurturing. They are ruled by the moon. Colors are gray, silver, and white. Lucky gemstones are pearl, emerald, and opal. And your lucky numbers are 2, 17, 25, and 30. Okay, so that ends the zodiac portion of the podcast. And now we will move on to the shoutouts. Yay! So, shoutouts. Just before we do get to the shoutouts, though, I just want to mention that summer solstice also is coming up June 20th. So that's a fun. I know we've talked about summer solstice in previous podcasts. I love summer solstice just because of the celebrations that we have been to. Have fun with it. Have a glass of wine for me because I can't drink anymore. So, if you're busting open a bottle of peach or pear or a fruit wine, have a glass for me.
Can't drink anymore. Can't drink any less.
Can't drink anymore. Can't drink any less. Strawberries, lemons, oranges, peaches are a good thing to celebrate with food-wise. Flowers that you can use to decorate with are daisies, roses, marigolds, and sunflowers. Gemstones are sunstone, tiger's eye, and amber. Have a bonfire. Make a daisy chain.
Just check the index, the fire index, though, before you have a bonfire.
Yes, definitely. Good one.
Because people around here don't check that.
Yeah. So, or, just light a candle inside.
So we had a little bit of a problem last year. We had lots of fires, and I'm kind of wondering this year if anybody's learned by that.
Yeah. Yes, let's not have a repeat of last year's wildfires. So, anyways, yes, shout outs. So, coming your way in June 29th, there is a spiritual expo at the Kingston Legion on 1472 Veterans Lane in Kingston, Nova Scotia. It runs from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. and there will be a $2 admission. And coming up on July 6th, just in case we don't get the July podcast out before then, there is a spiritual expo at the Chester Legion in Chester, Nova Scotia, 14 Union Street. I do believe, as most fairs go, that there will be a 10 o'clock opening. I'm not sure yet how long this goes. Yours truly will be at the July 6th one if you are interested in coming and having a charm casting. Both shows, great vendors and great products and services. Come and check it out. You will not be disappointed. And so brings us to the end of episode 2.6. Until next time, may the universe find you happy and healthy and safe. And just hearkening back to the Maritime portion of the show where we discuss the young teaser, we are going to outro the show with a song called Teaser by local band Short Notice. Not that I know anybody in the band.
Me neither.
Yeah. So until next time, blessed be.
Enjoy that June full moon.
You buffoon.
We'll see you real soon.
You're a baboon.
I'm going to go.
It's like the rhyming show now.
I'm going to go hide my cocoon.
Okay. Done.
Down in the barracks, the walls are sweating ice. That gets me down, I'm as low as can be. Second chances, they're never more than twice. The only choice I have is out on the sea. With a shilling, I beat like a scurvy dog. Where the wind takes me, I'll never know. With the weather, we're drifting off and in the fog. Alone in a pity with no place to go. For all the riches and fame, now we're still upon fire, with eternity to feed the flame. And all we long for the teaser, for all the stories untold, and told that never come easier, on the day when faith was sold. Be with us, but Lord, you know it's not tonight. Can't shake the feeling that's down in me bones. Lieutenant Johnson, you know he ain't been ever right. Here I'll come to meet the old Davy Jones. The hope's upon us, the circumstances have been changed. Our future sounding will be unforeseen. The lieutenant, he always was a bit deranged. Johnson last seen running for the powder magazine.